So I'm doing a lot of self-reflection. I've been doing this for a long time in different areas. And funny, when I've cleared other areas of my life, it's brought me back to the core of my body, weight, issues with my appearance, and how I feel about myself. And I've learned it doesn't matter what somebody else tells me or whatever it is, I'm really struggling. And I'm struggling with my self-worth right now in a lot of ways where I can't seem to do anything. And even my mental state is really bad, and I'm struggling with work. I'm struggling to leave the house. And I'm scared. I'm in fear a lot, and I'm self-sabotaging instead of repairing, but I'm also trying to be aware of why I do what I do to get better. So overall, as I've cleared a lot of my PTSD, I've gotten better, funny enough. I'm just trying to be honest with where I'm at, and I've realized I'm still so unwell in that. So I'm working through it. I'm gonna do some self-reflection on my body now, is because I stopped looking almost at myself and my body when I funny enough, I hit a weight I liked. I liked what I looked like, but I just didn't pay attention to it. And that's the funny enough thing, is that when I had it, I didn't even really acknowledge it or look at it, which is okay, because that's in a way, like, it was a good thing. But I have so much guilt always over everything. And funny enough, I had guilt over acknowledging or recognizing when I liked something about myself. That's the areas that I've realized I have a struggle with, that I don't feel worthy, it's like there's a shame in feeling good about myself. There's a shame in wanting to show myself off. There's a shame in that. But I've also learned that's also attached to the fears of the things that come at me. Because when I look a certain way, or I put something out, what people would take from me. And I've had to realize the dangers in that. So as a victim of sex crimes, molestation, abuse, but also wanting to feel beautiful and putting myself out there, it's really spun me out, because it's like I don't want that to be all what people see either, or I don't like, or people just taking. I haven't learned how to set my proper boundaries, and that's spun me out with my energy. Funny enough, that's my story. Everybody has a different reason and different things depending like what they're dealing with. But mine in particular, I've really realized it's been very confusing, because it's like being single again, and what I'm attracting is pissing me off. It pisses me off, because it's like I feel very like I have to understand, if you put something out there, you're going to attract a certain type of thing or certain type of person. I had a protection when I was married that I felt safer in feeling, funny enough, in feeling beautiful. And when I lost that, it took me some time now as I realized it, because I was spending time dealing with other things. But as I've come back around, and I've been single now for the last number of years, and not ready to be in a relationship, or because I genuinely believe that I need to be the best version of myself to attract the right thing, and I'm not okay, that I have to really get to the core of so many of these issues, or else I'm just going to keep attracting the wrong things. I say, because it spins me out to get the wrong attention, but I want to celebrate myself. Well, that has to do with boundaries, and then not caring what people think. Well, funny enough, you can't. Like, I do care about what people think. I care about what the world thinks. I absolutely do. Learning how to care what the right people think and the wrong people think, and the most important person is myself and what I think, and realizing my opinion is valuable. that's a tough thing, and I'm realizing that dialogue, though, if I feel I don't look a certain way or I'm not good enough, then that means I'm not lovable. But I've realized the core of me has never felt lovable and that goes to the actions and the things I was doing, and that's also why I let people get away with what they got away with. But I also didn't realize it, and I have to be forgiving to myself, and that's why I attracted narcissists or people that would gaslight my life or keep me repressed. So it's just a very confusing thing when you come from only trauma, and that's what I'm trying to understand within myself. So I want to do an exercise and be honest with myself and how I think. And it's, instead of journaling, I believe I believe like healing and talking out loud can help me through that, but also that really, getting to the next stages. I do believe there's a cleansing process in talking and being that authentically honest, and that's what I've been doing, and it's been working in other areas, and I'm hoping it'll work in this next area. I do want to get my body back. I don't feel I recognize myself. I don't like myself with weight. The irony is I have to like myself with weight and realize I'm still lovable and understand my dialogue is delusional. And again, I'm sensitive to the fact if somebody's watching this at a different weight, that they might think I'm ridiculous, but I would have to say to them, you have to understand that that's your journey, and my journey is the struggles that I faced in different ways. I had a mom who was anorexic. I was never anorexic. I have the other issue where I'm overconsumption of food. What does my body really need? And then I had the balance of the punishing myself through exercise versus the healing of exercise and building, and that can be a dangerous thing too. And I'm just not sure what to do and how to do it. And I also have the fear, then it comes back to the financials, because funny enough, with all of this, I'm not able to get into a state of being able to properly work until I can get through this and well. And that's what's scaring me, because I'm on a cycle of self-sabotage, and in my lifetime, it's also ironically what's held me back from getting paid what I'm worth. When I can see it, I know there's people getting, for what my skills are and what I do and what I can help people with and what I have helped people with for free, and help them absolutely make a ton of money or change their life or impacted them. I've just done to help without any intentions. And funny enough, I ended up getting screwed, and I'm learning that you can't do that either. And that's funny enough has to do with boundaries. So it's like they're all interconnected. Wealth, health, and relationships. It first starts with the relationship you have with yourself, and that's what I'm funny enough working through. But it's also where I struggled, because I would go get a job, go blah blah blah. Well, I believe in my business and I have to turn this around. Also, I really have a severe mental illness on work, and also when I was working, the sexual harassment, abuse was horrific, and that's what's triggered my PTSD as well. And it's also, I have this social anxiety fear, even though I can deal with people, but I can deal with them because I'm skilled at it. It makes me crash, and that's why I'm working through this alone this way. So I'm going to go through these exercises. What is the earliest media memory that I have? Funny enough, I remember media watch. It was like music videos and the looks of things. And it was actually, I might have been 13 or 14. And watching music, funny, with the one that comes to my mind is the video No Diggity, and the girl being so beautiful and looking and going, and I looked at my, I don't know, because I know I was being sexually abused at the time, or healing from the sexual, or not identifying it. But I remember watching videos of older women, but funny, women of culture in different shapes and sizes. And when I look at people of other cultures or other things, I see their shape and their weight as beautiful. But funny enough, within myself, I don't. So that's a weird thing. That just came up right now, I just realized. What about images, ideas, or messages made it memorable? I don't know. I just remember her being very beautiful, and that feeling of I don't know, that look being beautiful, but that's not, as a white person, she was a black girl, as a white person, oh, I'm never going to look like that. So it's like a different thing. So I don't know where that would come from, but that was about remembering. So I don't know, must have been 13, 14, 15. My first experiences with social media, that would have been for me in college, social media, and that was a big kind of change on what you put out there, but I wasn't really recognizing it. I had recently lost my social media accounts, funny enough, and having to rebuild them, which is frustrating. But I at the time before, I've lost years and years and years ago, you could easily lose your social media accounts before. People would report you, they don't like you, you'd lose your accounts. In this particular case, I really lost my accounts because I was speaking out against injustice. So that makes me question a whole other thing, because I'm trying to prove a bigger point. But I do understand the comparison and the issues with that can be very difficult. It's been challenging, but I'm trying to educate people, funny enough, through social media, and the business has been almost healing because it can connect to people if you do it the right way and understand it. But I also understand the damages of social media and the addiction to it, which I, funny enough, have. But also because I'm so alone, it helps me connect. So it's a kind of an in-between thing, but I have to get more focused. But again, putting all these shoulds on myself is why I'm also not well. So I'm just caught right now between a rock and a hard place, and I'm figuring out how to get through that. So right now at this time, how I'm feeling is frustrated, stuck, angry. When I'm angry, lonely, and tired, do I want to eat? Yes, I found my hunger right now is out of control. I feel I'm always hungry, and when I start eating, I can't stop. And that's been the cause of my weight gain. I'm not eating bad food, and overall I've come a long way. In general, I think my body is going through a process where it's needed to heal. I think there's a balance because I was very low in my weight. Not because I was trying to starve myself or any of those things. I was going through something else. And it caused a massive weight loss, which I think now my body's kind of balancing out and maybe healing. It's just now it's the psychological component to match up with where my body's at. Character traits, though, to complement that, so if I focus on character, and I do understand, I understand my integrity is huge. I understand I'm strong. I understand I'm intelligent. Now I've learned I always had this fear of feeling stupid or looking stupid. I worry too much about what other people think. I've never felt loved. Now if I look at it, when I thought I felt loved was when I was married. And once I had my heart broken and realized I was deceived, I've realized I've never felt loved. But the irony is because I've never loved myself. So I'm working through that now because I can't give that power to another person. And that's the irony of this. It's not actually my ex-husband's fault either. Like, that's what it is, right? Like, somebody else's, it doesn't mean because if somebody does something and hurts me, that it actually has anything to do with me. It doesn't, funny enough. But I really understanding that is difficult because we do attract what we believe we deserve. And if I've never really felt lovable, then obviously that's exactly what I deserved. So how do I change that so that I open myself up? Because I'm hopeless romantic. I would want to be married one day again, funny enough. But I have to be cautious because I know I have a lot to give in loyalty, which is a huge character trait. I'm very trustworthy. I give everything. or they'd have all of me. My ex-husband did, but what's most frustrating, I don't think he really recognized, is that. And that's what I'm very angry about. And funny enough, why I feel like I'm losing so much, and that has to do with my appearance, is that I feel like I'm getting worse. When I know that's really not true, but it's a tough thing with after going through divorce, and then you're aging and you're older, and then, right, because you're getting less attractive, not more attractive, that is hurtful. But my character has gotten more attractive, funny enough, in my authenticity, and I have to recognize that. And I appreciate other people's character, but for some reason I keep shitting on my own. I don't trust myself. That's right now the biggest issue. I don't trust myself with my actions. I don't trust myself with my thoughts. What might you suggest to help your body compassionately manage stress? I think right now, being honest and doing this, stopping and really stopping and reflecting on talking to myself, right? This has been my therapy. I don't go see, because after the professionals failed me, I don't go and see a therapist. I have to do the work for myself, and that's been really difficult. I'm in constant meditation, because of just, I'm always self-analyzing in my thoughts where they're at, but really stopping and slowing down and not losing myself. Funny enough, going back to social media is an issue, so I'll have to work through that. I have to get back to positive. What positive statement about myself have I been told but simply do not see as true or honest with me? Well, funny enough, right now, it's when people tell me I'm beautiful. Especially how I look right now, and I don't feel it. What part of my body do I feel most shame and discomfort about right now? Funny, my face. I hate having my face puffy. And it's my whole body. I feel puffiness and like an inflammation, but my face. If I were free of that shame and discomfort, what might I say about that body part? If I was free from that shame, that will, it's ridiculous. I know, on a logical sense, I know it's ridiculous. I don't know. If I were unafraid of failure or disappointment, what would I do right now? It's the thing. I don't think I could be doing anything different than what I've been doing. But if I was, I'd be working. That's what I'm most frustrated with, is the fact that I'm not working. But I am working, is the irony. But because I'm not being paid, I'm so frustrated. Because I'm not able to communicate with people for the purposes of making a living. And if I'd feel better if I was making money, could do the things, blah, 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 whatever. But ironically, that's what's holding me back from doing it, is because it's like not authentically aligned yet. Generalizations apply to identities. I know I struggle. I have severe issues with my identity, my masculine, feminine energy. I recognize I have a lot of masculine energy, a lot of toxic masculine energy. How do I feel about being stereotyped? Funny enough, I hate it. And my biggest issue, funny enough, and that comes back to my weight, is being stereotyped when I looked good or was a model or things. Really stepping into that, funny enough, and owning feeling beautiful, because of the amount of stones and hate that was thrown at me and what was taken, the amount of stalkers I had, that ruined my life, their obsession with me. I never saw myself that way at all. Clearly they must have, and what I really went through in my life and how much I gave back to people, but instead what they took And that's almost a fear of being beautiful. This is like a protective mechanism or layer I have on myself. What are some of the ways that you do not reflect stereotypes often applied to you? Well, I'm nothing like the people that I hate, but but like I have to understand that must be somewhere in my dialogue of fear. But people that mistreat people because of their appearance, people that like think they're better than other people because of their appearance. But funny enough, it's like if I'm insecure about my appearance, well, then I have an ego problem. I get that, but I've never put anyone else down for their appearance, and I believe everybody needs to be at their best weight and their like for themselves and their best self, and love themselves. And I believe everybody's worthy. Well, okay, well, why don't I feel worthy if I'm not that weight? But it's because I'm so freaking angry at really narcissistic people because of what they did. They made me feel like that's always what it was been, because I go back to in my internal dialogue when I was the fat girl or whatever, then I'm not good enough. I never felt good enough. I never felt I fit in anywhere. Ever. And then when I finally hit the goals of my weight and those things, it's almost like then I just had to give and try to lift everybody else up, and I realized they didn't see me as that, or the ones I wanted to. But why was I doing it for that? Why? So I could feel like I was good enough to fit into their circle. And those are the people I never want to be like. Or funny enough, those are the people I realized that I was trying to impress because they made me feel like shit, are the people aren't worthwhile. And that's what I don't want to be stereotyped as, funny enough. Are there any times that stereotypes of you are accurate? When I guess the truth would be that I can be vain, because I wouldn't be dealing with this at all if that wasn't true. I have to recognize that. That would have to be an issue at my core if I'm spending this much time obsessing about it. What are some situations where you made others an object of generalization? I would say I would stereotype probably the same too. If I feel an energy or look like almost like I have to recognize I assume or hate people with money that look good or doing well. At my core, I hate them. So it's why I fear doing that and stepping into that. That's not true. But it's what I fear. It's what I want for myself, to be my best self, step into that, own it. But because I hate those people, why? Because so many of those profile of those people I found to be disgusting. But I have to understand that's a character thing, and that's not true. It's like because I've hated people with money, because really everybody that I knew with money, especially the ones closest to me in my life, put money over doing the right thing. What are some of the ways that you see inaccuracies of these stereotypes now? Well, it's exactly it. Money only exposes you. And I just realized I was around a lot of bad people. Doesn't matter if they're blood related or not. That's the problem when you grow up around that. Fucks up your mentality. Realized I've been stuck in this pattern for a very long time. I was able to let it go for a number of years. But I'm right back to almost like square one of where I was. But I need to break this and live. So that's why I guess I'm doing this. If I was an animal, what would I be? Well, that changes for me a lot, funny enough. I feel myself as an animal often. A dog. But the first thing that came to mind was a tiger at this moment, but then a beast. And it's not an animal, I feel like an ugly creature. If you were a fairy tale or a superhero, what would you, or fairy tale, superhero, I've already, like, the base of, there's times I'm Superwoman, there's times I'm the Riddler. Those are the two characters I identify with most. However, I've played, and I feel I've played all supervillains and superheroes at different times. My name is Candace. A noun that describes me, makes me special or powerful. I don't know if it's a noun. I know I'm kind. I'm genuinely kind. Body part of your identity you struggle to radically love. Said it can be like when I have weight on, it's my face, and then the whole body. It's everything. It's not a particular part. It's everything. Name a gift or talent or ability I would like to have. I want energy. I feel like I have no energy. I need positive energy and movement. I feel like I'm just constantly under a rock, or in quicksand. I realize I have to write a new story for myself, and that's why I cannot picture my life past January 31st. Or the life I picture and having to move I don't want. So I'm suicidal. I have to change that. Can't keep having the option of suicide, because that's what's fucking me up. I'm better than I was, so that's good. Massively. But because suicide's always on my mind, it's what's keeping me from seeing any future. Like, it's like I can see a long-term future I could before. Now, I can't. List 5 people you trust most in your life. Nobody on this side. No one. Can't list anyone. And that's exactly why I'm at where I'm at.